There's a kind of fire that never makes a sound, a steady hand beneath the shaking floor. The tallest trees survive because their roots stay underground, not because they reach for every storm. I learned too late how quick a tongue can turn to ash, how pride can strike a match against the soul. Every reckless word I threw came circling back like shattered glass, and left small wounds nobody could sew. The older I get, the more I understand. Some victories arrive unseen, like rivers carving canyons without ever raising their hands. Strength is quieter than we think, between the spark and the wildfire, between the wound and what you choose. There's a doorway made of silence, and it opens only for you. Still, when the ceiling starts collapsing, still when the tide begins to rise, still when every voice around you wants a war inside your mind, find the eye, find the eye. Still, not because you're hollow, still because you know the deepest rivers move in darkness, far beneath the surface flow. Still, the loudest thunder rarely brings the rain, it only teaches fear to the sky. And the ones who swing with fury often break beneath the weight of never asking themselves why. But watch the soul who listens past the noise, who lets the moment fully land. They move through crowded rooms the way the moon pulls at the tide, without demanding it with hands. Anger speaks in lightning, fear speaks fast and cold, but wisdom moves like winter sunlight, slow enough to touch the soul. You are not your first reaction, not the smoke, not the flame. You are the space where mercy enters, before instinct takes your name. Between the spark and the wildfire, between the wound and what you choose, there's a doorway made of silence, and it opens only for you. Still, when the ceiling starts collapsing, still when the tide begins to rise, still when every voice around you wants a war inside your mind, find the eye, find the eye. Still, not because you're hollow, still because you know the deepest rivers move in darkness, far beneath the surface flow. Still, I have seen strong men drown in shallow water, seen fragile men survive the sea. Sometimes the whole of who we are comes down to one breath, between feeling and release. The calm are not untouched by sorrow, they simply do not hand it the wheel. They let grief pass through them like weather through an open field, until the earth beneath returns to still. And this is what I hope to leave you, more than anything I own, a mind that keeps its balance when the world forgets its own, a heart that can hold fire without becoming flame, a soul that stays soft without surrendering its strength, a heart that holds fire and still remains the rain. Still, when the room turns into chaos, still, when the air becomes too thin, still, when every broken part of you is begging to give in, find the eye, find the eye. Still, not because you're distant, still, because you hear the clearest truths are whispered to the ones who learn to disappear. Still, the mountain never trembles when the clouds begin to roll, and the strongest hands are often those relaxed enough to let go. Still, breathe before the answer, listen before the blame. Some doors only open when silence says your name. Trust the pause, trust the pause, because storms spin themselves eventually. But what waits decides who you become.